So yeah, I sent you all a Google Doc with the everything that you should know. So we're just going to go over that quickly and be sure to answer any questions and things like that. So I'll put it in the chat, but I'm also going to share my screen if you think that would be a good idea.
Yes.
So let me see if I can do that. Can you see this?
Yes.
Let me make it bigger.
Yep.
Yeah, I see it.
Is that big enough or should I
Yeah.
make it bigger?
Well,
That works.
little bigger.
Yeah, a little bigger.
Is that good?
Yeah.
Good for me.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So we'll have this printed out for you. And I've also emailed it to you and but feel free to ask me any questions or yeah, refer to this if there's anything you don't know. So here is my phone number in case you need it, and I will be the main point of contact during the event and also before, I guess. And Stanley, I didn't know you could draw on this.
He must be on an iPad or something.
Not to enable y'all, but it's possible with a mouse. Yeah, I'll stop distracting.
Where's
So
your phone number? You said something about your phone number.
oh
Where
yes,
is that?
it's here at the top of this. Can you see my screen here?
Oh, no. I'm on my own laptop here, so on my side. I see it now.
Okay.
The phone number. Got it. Yep.
Okay, great. Okay. So, yeah, so the event officially starts at 3 p.m. We're going to have a social hour and food and drinks will be served. People always tend to start arriving around 30 minutes before. So we'd like to be able to check people in starting at 2:30, ideally. So if it is possible for you to get there around 1:45, just to make sure there's enough time to get yourselves oriented, figure out the parking and everything else. If that doesn't work for some reason, just let me know. And then we'll meet around then and just make sure everyone knows what they're doing and where to be and everything else. So yeah, so 1:45, 2:30 start time. And for the parking, there's not this is the actual venue. I don't know if you can see my cursor here, but there's two driveways into the venue, but we can't park in here. There's just not like parking spaces. So there's a parking lot right next to the venue and then around the corner here and also around this corner. So that will be, I'm going to send this out to all the guests also, but there might be some people who try to park in the driveway. So we're going to have, we'll get to that, but part of your jobs as volunteers will be making sure people know where to go to park. If there are people who are like elderly or disabled or, they can't, it would be better for them to just get dropped off. Or like if the caterer comes or I don't know, somebody else who has things they need to drop off, they can pull into this driveway. And there are a couple parking spots there, so they can pull in and unload and then go and park. But this will be the main driveway where people will be walking into the event. Does anyone have any questions about that? Cool. And
So
I know
it's
Pam.
can
Oh
I
yeah,
just
go
add?
ahead.
It's the southerly of the two driveways, and it's shaded
Yes.
with a bunch of big trees. The northerly one is not shaded at all.
Great. Yeah. So now we're going to go into the different volunteer roles that we have. And there are 3 other people who are not on the call who are also available to take on some of these roles. So I'm just going to go through them and then maybe we can see who wants to do what. I know some people have expressed like a need to not be standing or to be in the shade or that kind of thing. So we'll take that into consideration as well. But first of all, like I was saying, the parking directors, Pam and Cliff actually did this last year, or was it the year before? I think, or maybe I'm thinking of something else, but
No,
yeah.
we did, and then Sarah and I worked the check-in table too.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah.
So how was that, Pam? Like, were people confused? Was it hard to direct people?
You know, it wasn't hard. We just stood out really by the street and people would slow down, which is hard because people drive fast on
Yeah.
that street. But anyway, it was simple. We just directed them.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And we have, I think Ken has a couple of those like safety vests, you know, so that you're very visible, so you can be on the sidewalk and be directing people. So we'll have 2 people doing that. And people can also switch off maybe between this and the greeters in case that's a little bit more interesting, you know, to be talking to people directly. So yes, that is the parking. And like Ken said, you should be a little bit in the shade right here, so it shouldn't be too hot. But if there's any issues like that, like please make sure to take care of yourself and we'll be able to figure out different assignments and things like that. So then we'll have greeters, at least 2 people, just inside of the venue, welcoming people to the space, directing them to the check-in table and socializing with them, you know, catching up. And it's important to try to not spend too much time talking to any single person. This is really hard to do, especially because we are like not in person as much as we once were. And it's good to see, you know, familiar faces and that kind of thing. But just if you're doing this role, remember to try to speak to every person who comes in, or make sure that everyone is welcomed and feels comfortable. And there'll be time afterwards also to socialize with people. So then for the check-in table, we'll have 3 to 4 people who also can be rotating between the parking and the greeters. But the most important thing is checking in the guests, giving them their program. We'll have a pledge form and an envelope inside of the program, and then there'll be a name tag paper clipped to a bid number. So, and like I said, this is going to be printed out. You'll have it in front of you, but we'll just go through it to make sure there's no questions. But you, when someone arrives, you'll ask what their first and last name is. You'll find their name on the sheet and check it off. And then this I need to change. Last year we were trying to ask people for their contact information, but we're just going to have like an optional email sign-in sheet for people. If they're not already on our listserv, you can ask them to leave their email if they're interested, but it's only if they want to. So yeah, and then we'll have the name tags laid out on the table in alphabetical order. There's a chance that it will be windy and we'll have to rethink this a little bit and be creative about how to organize them and not have them go flying everywhere. So if people have creative ideas, or I don't know if Jeannie has an idea about this, but
I think we can just separate them into 1 or 2 or 3 well, maybe 2 or 3 boxes, depending on how many volunteers, by alphabetically by last name.
yeah,
And
that's true.
just line them up, and then we'll have to dig in there to give them 2 of them, and that shouldn't be too much trouble.
Yeah.
And we have 2 long boxes, if that's helpful, baskets. If that's helpful.
We'll bring them and we'll see.
Okay.
What
Yeah,
works
that would be great.
for there.
Sure, good.
Yeah, and so there will be some people who come who won't have a printed out name tag, so we'll have some blank ones for people to fill out. And because they won't have a a bid number associated with them, you want to give them a bid card and then write their name and the bid number on the check-in sheet so we can know, you know, when they raise their hand to donate, who to follow up with. Yes. And then you can also on the check-in sheet will be their table number, and that will also be on their name tag. And you can show them the map of the venue to help them try to find their table. Or if someone needs help, like getting escorted to their table, that's something one of the greeters can do, is to kind of walk someone into the venue and then come back. If we don't anticipate people purchasing tickets at the door, but it can happen. So if they do, the best thing for them to do is to go to our website and buy a ticket there. Because then we get their email information and they can just pay for it directly. If they can't do that, or if they're having trouble, we can take cash or a check, or we can even send them an invoice after the event. So if that happens, if Ken or I are nearby, you can call us and just tell us. Or you can always just like make a note on the sign-in sheet and we'll deal with it after the event. And I'll make a note of some of the tables that will have empty seats in case this does happen. So you can direct them to just go to one of those tables. And again, give them one of those blank name tags and a bid card. So I'm gonna update this to show like the people who were expecting to come, but I don't know their names yet. So that will be on here updated before the event, and then it'll be printed out so you'll know who to kind of look up for there.
Excuse
Yes,
me.
Ken.
Yes, thank you. And if somebody gives you trouble, send them to table 11.
Bad.
We don't have a table number to put on that. Is that right, Nadia? I mean, I don't have it. so
Yeah.
we're just not having a table 11. So that's
Yeah.
helpful to know. Don't be
If
looking
someone's
for it.
annoying you, you can do that.
When we had our
great.
last, the table 11 number disappears. That's why we don't have a table 11.
Yeah.
But I just want to say on if they aren't paid and they want to buy a ticket and they can't do it online, I don't think you need to call Ken or I and tell us, because we'll probably forget. But just to make
That's
a note,
true.
you know, that they came, we need to have it written down because we won't remember later. So just make a note on the sign-in sheet or something.
Yeah. But if they're writing out a check or they've got cash and I'm nearby,
Right.
I'm the one to give that to.
And
I'm the CFO here.
Or tuck it away someplace and give it to them later. We could have a little box for cash if any
Oh, that's true.
cash comes in.
and could you remind us or put in here the cost of the tickets? I don't know if there's different cost
Yes.
prices.
It's
Or,
$75 each, but put it in there.
okay, thank you.
Or a sliding scale.
Yeah, and sliding
Absolutely.
scale is available, and we have, you know, we probably have over 10 tickets that could be donated at this point too. So if someone comes and that's a concern, like we're not going to turn anyone away. I mean, unless they're being inappropriate or whatever, but yeah, and we should have around like 15-ish extra chairs, I think. It's hard to know, you know, who is actually going to come, who's going to show up, who's not going to show up, but I think we'll have plenty of space for people if this does happen. Any other questions on the check-in procedure?
How many people are we anticipating to check in?
Good question. We have, right now we have like 121 names, I believe, or like 121 tickets accounted for. There'll probably be a few more purchased in the next day or two. And then there's always some people who don't show up. So yeah, around that, I would expect.
And
And-
then this is Pat speaking, and I was one of the people that expressed that I did need to be seated as well as in
Great.
shade. And is the registration table in the shade area of that tent? It's hard to tell.
I think Nadia froze up. Yeah, it is in the shade. And there'll be seats for the registration table as well. So,
Thank you much.
yeah, maybe Nadia is gonna come back in a minute. Let's go ahead with any other questions while we're waiting for Nadia to get back.
I'm sure you have this already planned out, but so since we'll have multiple greeters, is it like, you know, A to L and L to Z, or how will then that be divided?
I think we would divide the name tags up alphabetically, something like what you said, A to L and M to Z. And we can, like what we did last time with the Hannah Beth event was we attached the bid card to their name tag. So that would all be in one place. And also, like it said on her notes, the bid number is also going to be on the name tag. So if there's any question about what their bid number is or their table number, that will be there as well too in little tiny print. So you can direct them to where they'll be seated from that. Welcome
Can you
back.
hear me
Nadia.
now?
You froze up
Am
for a
I back?
minute.
Okay, sorry about that. I stopped sharing. I thought maybe that was taking up some of the
Oh, that might have done it.
internet. Laura, do you have a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to know, just to confirm that the driveway you're using is not the driveway you used last time, correct?
Right.
Correct.
It's the other driveway.
other one,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for that.
I just wanted to make sure. I mean, that looked like it, but the drawing didn't look like it, but that I couldn't tell what was north, south, east or west on the drawing, but
Yeah, that's a good
but Ken had
note.
said it was the other one. So I was just wanting to make sure.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, the driveway or the drawing I did is the opposite orientation to the map, which is confusing for sure. Okay, great.
I was just gonna say that's with Pat's Automotive being to the south of the garden.
Correct.
Right.
Correct. Yes, and yeah, and Pat, you were saying you wanted to be seated and in the shade, right? And the check-in table will be in like under the trees, so it'll be shady there, and we'll just have you there the whole time. And that'll be great. So the next, let me try not sharing my screen actually, because I'm worried about the Wi-Fi, but if you're following along on the Google Doc, or if you are an auditory learner, the next thing to talk about is the fundraiser spotter. So everything we've talked about so far will be like before the event or during that social hour. And then we do need probably 3 to 4 people to also help us out during the fundraiser itself. And this will mostly be just sort of when they're asking people to raise their bid cards to donate money, we'll position people around the tent just to have different vantage points of the crowd and pay attention to who raises their hand for what amount. We'll have a couple people, myself and one other person probably just taking notes, and then other people just kind of looking around and trying to yell out the numbers or the names if you know the name, and just really kind of being excited and sort of bringing the energy up. So even if you're not an official spotter, it is very helpful if you're just like sitting at your table with people to clap and cheer and get excited when people raise their hands, and make people feel appreciated and excited to raise their hands as well. And then at the end of the fundraiser or throughout, sort of be wandering around the tent and collecting the pledge cards from folks around the room. What else?
Nadia,
Oh, yeah,
I have a question. What if we were to get some of these little party favors for the kids, like at kids' parties, that we could put on all the table, and if people wanted to, like little clackers or type of things, and then we ask everybody to applaud for whoever's giving.
That's smart. That's good.
Okay, I'll get those then.
Makes
That's a
it
good
fun.
idea. Yeah, I like that idea. Yeah, and it is fun. You know, it's supposed to be fun, and that's the main point. And we'll, if people want to donate money too, then that would be great. Sorry, they're doing construction. I don't know if you can hear that. But
Oh,
one
I could
one
also
other
share,
thing.
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
go ahead.
I could also share my screen if you'd like, because I think I've got enough bandwidth that it wouldn't be a problem.
Okay, that would be great.
Okay. Can you all see that?
Yep.
And should I make it bigger?
Little bigger, please.
Okay, let's see. Where's the bigger part? Here's bigger. Okay, how about that? Stretch this out.
There, that's good.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank
So
you.
the other thing I wanted to talk about was the QR code. So on the program, on the back of the program, right, Jeannie, there's two different QR codes. And this is a little bit perhaps too experimental. Oh yeah, there it is.
The
So
second to last page.
Yeah,
oh Jeannie, it's not showing up for you.
it doesn't show up on mine,
So we have two different ways that people can donate. One is a one-time donation, and then one is a recurring monthly donation, and it's just people's preference. We don't care either way. But you know, some people prefer to pay, you know, split it up throughout the month, or some people prefer to pay all at once. So it is helpful if you can be familiar with that and help explain it to people. And if the QR code is too confusing for people, they can also give us cash or a check. And again, those should all end up in Ken's pocket. And
Don't let Ken run away.
in his
I
literal
know.
pocket. Yeah, or people can donate online after the fact.
Yeah,
as
and we can
well.
also, we could send them an invoice, or they could send it in later if it's too much trouble to do at the time.
Yeah, but if they do it online, they'll get like an email automatically with the tax ID information and all that. And yes, okay, so I think that's it. So I'm looking at the time, and we're running short a little bit. So if people do have to go, you're welcome to go, but we should wrap up pretty quickly here. So I just want to look at the map. Oh yeah, Laura, go ahead.
Well, I was just reading the last sentence and are we not assigned to a table?
You will be assigned to a table.
Oh, okay.
I haven't made the seating chart yet.
No, I just meant the
Um,
way you had worded it, it made it sound like we were just going to be sitting in the back somewhere or whatever, not at an actual table.
Oh, yes, you will be at a
Okay.
table. I guess the reason I said that in that way was like, if because the dinner will be served like kind of while the check-in is happening.
Right. I gotcha.
I want to, yeah, leave it up to you all to kind of help yourself take turns and make sure that
gotcha.
you're also enjoying the event. If there is a lull, or if you know someone needs to use the restroom or grab a drink or something like that, I want people to feel free to do that. But yeah, so this is the map. It should be pretty straightforward. So there is another driveway on the side where it says parking for event staff, but that's not that's not where people will enter. So I didn't draw it on there. And yeah, I think it's pretty straightforward. These are the table numbers. That's where the band will be. That's where the podium and the speakers will be. And then the check-in table is going to be there in the driveway. And then the food will be on one side, the bar will be on the other. And then just one more thing to note, there will be these two tables set up next to the house where we're going to have the certificates set up. And if there are sponsors, we're going to invite the sponsors and the winners to bring like brochures or any like printed materials or anything like that they would want to display. And that's where they can put them. So if you're at the check-in table and people have something, you can direct them to go there to put things out. Any questions about this?
Bert,
Okay,
has anybody not been to this place before? Pat and Rachel, have you been to?
Yeah, I've been to NAACP events and the superintendent event last year, the new superintendent.
Oh,
Santa-
yeah.
I haven't, but I'm familiar with Santa Maria, so it should be.
Okay. Because it's
Okay.
a really interesting place. I just wanted to point out where this food thing is. There's a little kind of courtyard over there where you kind of go around to the corner to get the food. Everything else, and this bar is another little courtyard area. It's really cute. And I don't know if we're going to talk about this later, but to find the restroom, you have to walk beside the house down.
Yeah.
Girl, for the food, you have to walk beside the house and down to this other little building, little outbuilding. And she's going to put a sign on there that said restroom. We didn't have a sign on it when we had our event last time. We had to explain to everyone, go past that. I don't know if it was a lemon tree or something. Go past the lemon tree and turn to your right to find the restroom. So it's kind of hard to find, but it's a cute place, and it's just been wonderful. And then so it's just getting familiar with it. And I'm glad most everybody is familiar, but Rachel, it won't take you long to get familiar with it. So that's it.
yeah. And we're gonna have it be a little bit more open than last year, because the bar will be sort of in, like Jeannie said, in this other courtyard where we didn't have anything last year. And then the gate to their backyard will also be open. So people are welcome to go around the whole property, and hopefully it'll feel a little bit, yeah, just spread out. People will be able to enjoy the space a little bit more. Yes. So I think that is it. If people have a strong preference for an assigned role, if you could go scroll up, Jeannie, to the different roles or the different assignments, we can hear them now. We can also kind of figure it out that, you know, depending on who shows up when. But yeah, does anyone feel strongly about any of these besides Pat? I know already.
And I will be up and around when I can. That way I'm not sitting 100% to help out in other areas, just that I cannot stand for long periods, but I can definitely
Totally.
mingle, and yes.
Great.
And I did mention about my preference before I emailed you.
Okay. To be at the check-in table as well, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great.
I'll go wherever's best. Let me know.
Yeah, I was
Thanks,
gonna
Stanley.
say that too.
Yeah, I
Um,
don't have any preference. I'm willing to do parking, check-in, whatever, wherever you need a body, just assign me.
Okay.
And Cliff and I found last year that you can both direct traffic and greet people who are coming in and pointing them to the checkout table. So
Great.
we could do that again if you want to just go ahead and assign us to that. And
Is Cliff going to be helping out too?
he can.
Okay.
I'll voluntold him. I think he liked doing this last time.
Wherever you need me, but don't
Okay.
have me do fundraiser spotter.
Okay. Oh, yes. Does anyone else not want to do the fundraising part of it? Cool.
It almost sounds like they're playing ping pong in the background.
It does.
Here,
Yeah.
It makes me want to play. I love ping
Yeah.
pong.
I have my
Well,
noise
maybe
canceling
are
headphones,
you?
so.
can-
Uh-oh,
What's that, Sarah?
Sarah, you went on mute.
I was thinking, can you hear what's going on outside our building? Because we're having builders.
I
across
could
the
hear
street.
you. I could hear yours a little bit.
I think it's mostly Nadia's that I've heard.
Yeah. They're almost done. Today is supposedly the last day, so we'll
Yay.
see.
No more ping pong.
It's been like 5 or 6 weeks that they've been working on stuff here, but
Mm.
okay, great. Well, I think that is everything. Thank you all again so much for for helping us out, and I think it should be a really fun event. So
Nadia, do you have
think
enough
that is it.
volunteers? Are you all set in terms of just the number of volunteers?
I think we are all set. If there are more people who want to, we would not turn them away. We could always have more people, helping greet, and then people could do it for a shorter amount of time or that kind of thing. But I think we're not hurting. Oh yeah, Jeannie.
Great.
There's one other thing that we didn't think about was busing the tables.
Oh,
Probably be a
yes,
good
thank
idea to
you.
take away the plates after people are done eating. And the restaurant said that they would try to help, but they are going to be serving, and they'll be serving dessert. Well, actually, we're going to have put out cookies maybe, so maybe it's not too intensive, but if we could just help to bus the tables, I think that would be nice, because then people don't have plates sitting around, and our restaurant people really can't do that all by themselves. And maybe not do it at all. It depends on how busy they get over in their area.
Who's
Yeah.
catering the event? Just curious.
It's La Coqueta,
Okay.
Taqueria La Coqueta.
I've heard of them. I haven't eaten their food, but yes, I've heard of it. Okay.
And
Yeah,
so-
Ken and I went to make sure that we did quality control on that.
Good.
Yeah, they're
Um,
really good.
So people are of course welcome to go back and get some more tacos. So if we're bussing anybody's plate, don't be sure not to bus it unless they're really done.
Right.
Ooh,
Yeah,
Go back and get some.
ask. Yeah.
'Cause
You
we-
really know how to incentivize people, Ken.
We have so many plates and they're 60 cents a pop. So I mean, they're real plates and a real fork. So
Ooh.
And I forget, are we
Oh,
doing
I
cookies
see.
or are we doing pie? Because I forget which way we're going with that. Because
We
that makes a
didn't
difference.
get dessert plates,
Pardon?
so we decided on cookies or something like that.
Okay. Because we were afraid we are gonna run out of forks. If we bust their forks and we were gonna give them something else they needed forks for, then it would be difficult. So we're just gonna give them cookies. So you can bust their plate and their fork, and then they can use napkins for their cookies.
Yep. Yeah, so if around like maybe like 3:50 or something like that, a few minutes before the event starts, if people could go around and start busing, or just, if you're near the table where you're at, or that kind of thing, just throughout, that would be helpful. And I'll add that to this sheet as
Yeah,
well.
we'll need to come up with a place to put the plates. So we got to figure out where that's going to be and tell everybody. Maybe it'll be by the serving area.
I think, just back in like the thing that they come in,
The tubs.
the tubs. Okay, I think that's it. I'm available today and tomorrow if you have any other questions, if anything comes up, if there's other people who want to volunteer. But yeah, thank you all so much. I will see you on Sunday.
Okay,
Thank
Great,
you.
thank
Okay.
you.
Everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
bye.